Hi there, welcome back to another vlog. This time I'm actually in a different area. I'm usually in the basement of my house, but of course with us getting the kittens in the last while, I kind of wanted to be around them more because we don't really allow them into the basement because most of the basement is unfinished. So for the last little bit I decided to move a lot of my studio up to the bonus room over the garage, just so I could be kind of around the cats more, kind of be involved more with what's going on inside of the house. Of course, you get the outside noise and of what's going on out on the street here, so it's kind of got out of the dungeon more or less just to do more of my music, and then kind of did a hybrid where my day job and my music studio are kind of in one. I kind of did this at the old house before we moved out of the old house, so I've kind of done that here as well. So moving on. Siren. So the recording process now, I've actually just finished all my guitar work. I've done all my rhythms, all my leads. So I'm pretty much done the album. The exception is that Byron's still got to work on most of his guitar tracks. And just in case I have to change anything, I'm kind of waiting till he finishes his tracks, just in case I got to punch in and punch out for something that he maybe I'm picking something different in a guitar riff that he's written. So I've kind of been waiting to see how he's going to finish up his tracks. And this is the nice thing of this recording process we've done, where we've done all the tracking on our own at home. So I've used my Headrush board. I've got everything kind of set up that I can just quickly just punch in. Everything's set up. I've used two guitar tones. I used a 5150 and a dual rectifier profile for all my guitar tones, and we're quad tracking the whole album. So that way, when I do my 150 track, then I double it with a rectifier track as well. So the whole album's got, four guitar, two on each side. Byron's on one side, I'm on the other side. So the whole album, I actually ended up recording the whole album with my Jackson Kelly. With the exception of one guitar solo I did actually with the Ibanez that I have. I just found that this guitar just sounded better, especially for sustain. I actually did a test with a few of my different guitars and tried, just holding the one note to sustain, especially at the end of one of the solos. I tested this out. I tested my 6-string soloist, the Pro Monarch, the Ibanez, but in the end, this guitar actually had the best sustain. Was the most clear. So, and of course, this has my favorite JB and Jazz pickup combo, but I'm actually going to change the pickups on this. I actually just today went and picked up a set of Blackouts, Seymour Duncan Blackouts. For passive pickups, I really love these. I've put these in both of my Randy Rhoads USA guitars. So that's pretty much what I'm going to go for, a more modern sound on this guitar. I do like the JB and the Jazz for sort of standard tuning, kind of classic metal kind of a tone, but moving forward, I kind of want to go to a more modern tone. And I just find that especially active pickups is a much more modern sound. I kind of was looking at like Fishman pickups, some of the newer EMGs, but of course I like the Blackouts, just like as my Randy Rhoads here. I actually have Blackouts in this, and I love this guitar, especially with lower tunings. And we were actually talking to the next album for Siren. We're actually going to tune down to drop D. We've already got a couple of songs written for that, so that's why I want to go with a little bit more of a modern tone to my guitar tone. I'm being really picky about the tone this time because the first Siren album, guitar tone wise, just wasn't there. I didn't really like the tone. So especially this album, with us engineering most of it on our own, it's kind of, we're being a little bit more picky. We can take our time, especially recording at home. I took a lot of time, really tried to be accurate with my tracks. I really don't care for quantizing too much, so I try to be as accurate as I can, just to get the natural feel as much as possible. So that's kind of where we are with the recording process. I know Lix has done a couple of her bass tracks now, and I actually got to listen to one of her bass tracks just because we share everything through like a Google Drive, and I kind of really like what she's doing for some bass fills in one of the songs. So I'm kind of looking forward to when this album gets finished. We're actually going to be able to sit in a room with the engineer producer and we're actually going to be able to listen to the mix downs and give more feedback. The first album we did, that whole last process, it took a long time, and it was kind of painstaking because it was all done through communication through like a messenger and Facebook Messenger, and it took a lot of time to get that mixed down. So we're really looking forward with Craig this time to kind of getting that kind of done, kind of quicker, but like better, like more communication, I guess is the best way I could say it. So I'm kind of really looking forward to having this album done, which we're almost there. We're getting there. So on the other side of that, my other projects. So my last video, I kind of mentioned that. I kind of have a little bit more free time now while we're waiting for this album to get finished, recorded, and then mixed and everything. And we do have some shows coming up with Siren. We do have coming up here in Calgary at the Gateway, and as well we're heading out to Vancouver for the Hyperspace Metal Festival. So I'm looking forward to that. So besides that, I'm going to have a bit of free time. So I've kind of been looking at my other stuff that I had going on. I kind of got back together with the guys with Castigate. We finally met up. Those guys had a drink and we kind of hung out, had some tea and water. Just kind of hung out, chatted up music. We're kind of buddies as well as being musicians, so it was nice to see them. We hadn't gotten together in a while because of this whole stupid pandemic, so it was nice to just get in a room and hang out and chat. And so we're kind of talking, the future of what Castigate's going to look like. And we're kind of, we're just going to start jamming soon, but it's going to be much more of an original project, although we did do some covers here and there. The big thing right now we're kind of discussing and what tunings we're going to kind of be playing around. So we were jamming in drop C before, and I was kind of contemplating, going down to like B, whether it's a drop B or standard B. And I had actually been playing a while lately with my 7-string, my Jackson 7-string for the last little while, just trying to see, if we'd want to play down to 7. The bass player actually he plays a 5-string bass already, so we're kind of contemplating maybe going to B standard, but then and I thought, well, maybe drop B. I've got my axe in drop C. I was thinking, I could just go down to drop B. One of the covers we were talking about playing now was in drop B, so I was kind of thinking, hey, maybe I'll just drop down one more note, although I'm kind of playing around trying to just figure out my white Rhodes. Actually, I keep that in D standard. So at this point, I keep one in D standard and one in drop C. It's not a big deal for me to drop down one note and say do drop B on this guitar, and then on the white one go like C sharp standard maybe. Kind of a Pantera Machine Head influence in there, where they had a couple of different tunings. So kind of contemplating where I'm going to go. I'm working on riffs right now. So a lot of what we're doing in that group is more of a jam band. We're actually write the songs together just based on riffs that I come up with, and then kind of some jams, kind of put some stuff together. We got a couple of songs already, so kind of that. And then, but at the same time, we're kind of discussing that I'm not going to work at trying to be the lead singer in the group. I'm going to stick to really concentrating on the guitar work. So it'll be much more of a sort of a Pantera kind of theme, right? So we are going to look for a lead singer at some point, but not at the moment. We're going to kind of just keep it as the three of us, just jam out some music, write some killer tunes, and then once the time comes, we get a bunch of songs together, then we'll probably seek out a singer, kind of go from there. And then, of course, influence-wise, there's a lot of Pantera, Machine Head, of course, one of my favorite bands. Prong, I love the band Prong. The guys, I've kind of exposed the guys to some of the Prong stuff, especially guitar riffs and songwriting and whatnot. I really enjoy what they do, and especially other groups like Korn. I've always loved Korn, and then Chevelle, which I discovered a few years ago. Really love Chevelle, songwriting wise, riff wise. So a lot of that influence will come in. But recently I discovered the band Decapitated. They've been around for a long time, but I never really listened to them until the last while, and I've really gotten into their music in the last bit. The last 3 albums especially. And it's interesting because they actually started out as more of a technical death metal band, and then around, I think it was around 2010-ish or so, they actually moved into having more of a groove metal influence into what they're doing. And it's really, I love the music, like riff wise, especially the guitar player Vogue, who you definitely can tell he's a huge Dimebag Darrell fan, and you can definitely hear that influence in his music, but he's definitely got his own style kind of mixed in there. And it was no surprise now that to find out he's actually in Machine Head now. He replaced Phil Demmel in Machine Head before the pandemic hit on that last tour they did before the pandemic, and he actually got to see some live video on YouTube, and I can see he definitely was a good fit for Machine Head, but you definitely can see he's a huge Dimebag lover, just like me and some of the other guys. But that influence will probably definitely come into the music, especially us being a one guitar player focused band, right? So you'll definitely hear some of that Decapitated type of stuff, Pantera, Prong, one guitar influence. So it's a bit of a challenge to me trying to write music for one guitar where you don't have the luxury of having that second guitar to do guitar harmonies or chords over riffs. So it can be a little bit of a challenge, and I like the challenge. So there'll definitely be some interesting music, and it'll definitely be Pantera more influence, where the guys like me, they like that, sometimes the bass has the rhythm in the background more than a rhythm guitar. So you'll probably hear more of that, especially in some of the stuff we're already writing. And I'm hoping maybe by the end of the year we can actually get some recordings done with that band, maybe get some gigs. We'll see how things go over the next while. Siren is still my main priority, but I actually am looking forward to getting something else going on the side too. Something that's a little bit more expressive of me as a guitar player, other than what we do with Siren. So, but that's about it for now. I'm glad we're kind of getting back to normal again. I went to the office for the first time in 2 years this past week. So it was kind of interesting going downtown Calgary and being back into that world and seeing, coworkers, and we've got a few new coworkers now too. So a few colleagues that I have. So being in the office was quite interesting. But anyway, so that's it for now. So hopefully the next time I talk to you guys, I'll have a bigger update on Siren. Maybe by then we'll have the mix downs kind of going, vocals done. Maybe I'll have some behind the scenes again. I don't know. We'll see how things go. But anyway, until next time, shred on. Okay, take care.